Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another incredibly exciting deep dive. Today, we are breaking myths, we are building confidence, and we are going to make English learning actually fun. So I really hope you are all ready for today's topic.
Oh, I am so ready. Hi, everyone. Yeah, today's topic is, um, it's something that stops literally millions of people from speaking English confidently. We're talking about English-speaking myths.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we've pulled together some amazing source material today, and we're going to completely dismantle these mental blocks because so many people spend years learning English, right? But they still hesitate to speak.
Right, because they believe these completely false myths. You know, things like, my grammar isn't perfect, so I can't speak, or I need this flawless foreign accent to sound fluent.
Oh, the accent one is huge. We are going to bust that wide open.
We really are.
Yeah.
Because the truth is that confidence and just pure practice
hmm
matter so much more than trying to be perfect.
Totally. And to kick this off, I want to share a story from our sources about a guy named Aman. Now, Aman basically does everything right.
He really does.
Yeah, he watches English movies without subtitles. He reads English news articles every single morning. He can listen to a fast-paced podcast and understand, like, almost every single word.
Which is super impressive.
It is. But then, the moment a tourist stopped him on the street to ask a very basic question about directions, his brain just completely flatlines.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Right, he just freezes. And it's like, why does a brain that understands English perfectly suddenly lose the physical ability to speak it?
It's basically this fascinating neurological traffic jam. Yeah, the freeze doesn't happen because Amon lacks the vocabulary.
Right.
It happens because a panic loop suddenly just fires up in his prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
His internal monologue isn't even processing the tourist's question anymore.
What's it doing instead?
It's just screaming, what if I make a grammatical mistake? What if they laugh at my accent?
Wow.
Yeah. In that moment, the brain prioritizes saving him from potential social embarrassment
Mhm.
over actually, communicating.
And that self-preservation instinct just results in total silence. And days of silence become weeks, and weeks become months.
Exactly.
The stakes feel incredibly high to the person freezing up. But the tragedy is that the problem is entirely based on an illusion. And our mission today, the whole goal of this deep dive, is to break those barriers down for you.
Whether you're a student or a professional prepping for a job interview or just someone who wants to connect with people.
Right. We need to stop treating English like it's this high-stakes performance and start treating it as a tool for connection.
That is the perfect way to put it. Shifting from performance to utility changes everything. And the biggest barrier to that shift is the perfection illusion.
The perfection illusion.
Yeah, the belief that you basically have to be flawless before you are allowed to even participate in a conversation.
Which brings us right to our first massive myth. The idea that you need perfect grammar before you start speaking. I mean, people will spend literally years buried in textbooks.
Oh, absolutely. Memorizing all 12 verb tenses.
Yes. Just waiting for this magical day when they will finally feel ready to talk.
And that readiness myth is so pervasive because, well, we assume language learning is a straight line. Like you memorize the rules and then you apply the rules. But the human brain just does not acquire spoken language that way.
How does it work then?
It learns through iterative feedback. When you sit in your room memorizing syntax, you're only building passive knowledge. You aren't building the rapid neural pathways you need for spontaneous speech.
So fluency is almost like a physical thing.
It's a motor skill. As much as an intellectual one, speaking improves strictly by speaking.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second here because some people listening might be thinking, wait, if you could just ignore perfect grammar and open my mouth, aren't I just encouraging bad habits?
That's a super common fear.
Right. Like if I constantly practice broken English, won't I just bake those errors into my brain forever?
Well, that assumes the brain is like a piece of clay that hardens and can never be reshaped, which goes against everything we know about neuroplasticity.
Oh, that makes sense.
Think about how we acquire our very first language. A toddler doesn't study a sentence structure diagram before asking for a glass of water.
No, they definitely don't.
They usually just point and yell something grammatically terrible like, "Me wants water!"
Yeah, they make hundreds of errors every single day.
They do, but they don't get stuck there. The feedback they get from their environment, like parents naturally repeating the request back correctly, that is what refines their grammar over time.
So mistakes aren't these permanent concrete walls.
Exactly. They are the essential data points your brain's pattern recognition software actually needs to update itself.
Wow. So the structure actually emerges out of the practice. The practice doesn't come after the structure.
Nailed it.
I love that.
Hmm.
So I want to challenge you, the listener, to test this mental block right now. Wherever you are, I want you to say this sentence out loud. I will speak English and improve my grammar along the way.
Love that exercise.
Right, because if you feel a little spike of hesitation saying that, just because you know your grammar isn't perfect yet, that discomfort is the exact mental barrier we are trying to break today. You have to give yourself permission to be messy.
And that discomfort is a very real physical sensation. And it actually stems from the same deep-seated insecurity that drives our second big myth.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Yep. The obsession with sounding like a local. The myth that only people with a foreign accent speak good English.
It's the accent chameleon. It's like people feel they need to put on a tuxedo and an invisible monocle just to sound legitimate.
Yes. Or they try so hard to mimic a Hollywood movie character.
And their friends are just looking at them like, wait, what country are you even speaking from today?
Exactly. And it is exhausting for the listener, but more importantly, it is massively draining for the speaker's brain.
How so?
Think about the cognitive load. You're already searching your memory for vocabulary, right?
Wow.
You're formulating a sentence and trying to follow the conversation.
Which is a lot of work already.
It's tons of work. So if you add the task of physically manipulating your jaw and vocal cords to fake a foreign accent, you're stealing vital processing power away from your actual message.
Oh, so you're sacrificing the substance for the packaging?
Precisely. Now, clear pronunciation is absolutely vital. You definitely need to form the words correctly so the other person understands you.
Right. Clarity is key.
But an accent, that's just the geographic flavor of your voice. English is a global language. There are millions of highly successful people in boardrooms all over the world, and they all carry the beautiful accents of their home countries.
So the ultimate metric of success isn't sounding like a news anchor. It's just being understood. If you can transfer an idea from your brain into someone else's clearly, that is successful English.
Absolutely. Own your natural voice.
I think once you drop the burden of the fake accent, you just free up so much mental energy. But chasing that perfect native sound usually goes hand in hand with another trap we see in the sources.
Oh, the vocabulary trap.
Yes. Myth number 3. You must know thousands of words before you can even start speaking.
People think they need to memorize the dictionary first.
I hear this all the time. People say, well, I only know basic words, so I can't really express myself.
But that's just not true.
It really isn't. When you look at some of the most impactful speeches in human history, they are almost always built on incredibly simple words. You don't need a $50 word when a $5 word does the job perfectly.
Exactly. A massive passive vocabulary is completely useless if you can't actually deploy it in real time.
Right.
Instead of learning 50 difficult words and freezing up because you can't remember a poetic way to express yourself, just use what you know.
Like what?
Like a simple sentence. I am happy because I achieved my goal. That is infinitely better. It's clear, it creates a connection, and it uses basic vocabulary.
Because communication is about human connection, not showing off how many flashcards you've memorized.
You got it.
Eh.
But I will say, there is a very real mechanical wall that learners hit here.
Okay, what is it?
Even if you decide to use simple words, you still have to retrieve those words from your brain. And that leads to myth number 4, which is tied to the biggest silent killer of live conversations.
Let me guess the translation lag.
Yes. The belief that you must translate every single sentence from your native language in your head before you speak.
See, this is fascinating. Because I think some people view translation as a safety net. Like, if you don't translate, how does your brain even find the words?
It feels like a safety net, but it's actually a massive hurdle. Think about the process. You hear an English sentence, you translate it into your native language to understand it.
Right.
Then you formulate your response in your native language, and then you try to translate that response back into English before you finally speak.
It's like playing an online video game with a terrible internet connection.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
You have super high ping, you press the jump button, which represents your native language, but you have to wait for the server to translate it. And by the time your character actually jumps in the game, the moment has completely passed.
That is exactly what happens neurologically. You're literally running 2 completely different operating systems in your brain simultaneously.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. And that latency is what causes Aman, from our story earlier, to freeze. By the time you do the mental gymnastics to find the exact translation, the conversation is already 30 seconds ahead of you.
Okay, so how do we lower the ping? How do you bypass that dual processing lag?
You have to train your brain to associate concepts directly with English. You have to skip the native language bridge entirely.
Give me an example of how to do that.
Okay, if you look at an apple on a table, you shouldn't think of your native word for it and then translate it. You just look at the physical object and map the concept directly to the English word apple.
Just direct mapping.
Yes. You start by thinking in very small, simple English chunks. Over time, that neural pathway gets faster and more automatic.
And speaking of fast automatic pathways, that brings up myth number 5 from our sources,
Which one is that?
the passive absorption myth. People think, well, I watch English YouTube videos and podcasts all day, so I'll just automatically become fluent.
Ah, yes. The idea that listening equals speaking.
Right. Listening definitely improves your understanding.
Oh, absolutely. Listening is crucial for comprehension, but it involves a completely different neurological process than speaking. Listening is decoding information. Speaking is encoding information.
So it's 2 entirely different muscle groups.
Exactly. Let's use a fitness analogy. Watching a video of someone lifting weights does not build your own muscles.
I wish it did.
We all do.
Yeah.
It might show you the proper form, sure, but you have to actually pick up the weights to create muscle fiber tears. Similarly, to speak English fluently, you have to physically use your jaw, your tongue, and your vocal cords.
And the second you pick up those heavy weights, you are going to be sore. Bypassing that translation safety net and actively speaking means you are inevitably going to stumble.
You are. You're going to use the wrong tense or mispronounce a vowel.
Which brings us to the ultimate fear holding people back. The belief that making a mistake means you are inherently bad at the language.
We really need to fundamentally reframe how we view mistakes.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier about the brain, mistakes are not signs of failure. They are the necessary friction you need to build neuroplasticity.
It's just so strange how we accept this reality in literally every other physical skill, but we completely reject it in language learning.
What do you mean?
Well, think about learning to ride a bicycle. You do not expect to hop on the seat on day 1, balance flawlessly, and just ride off into the sunset.
No, you'd fall immediately.
Exactly. You steer into a bush, you scrape your knee, and no one looks at you on day 1 and says, wow, you fell down, you must be a terrible bicycle rider, you should quit forever.
That is so true. Yet for some reason, with language, we demand day 1 perfection from ourselves. Every highly fluent speaker you admire has a trail of thousands of embarrassing mistakes behind them.
They just kept speaking anyway.
Exactly. And think about the social fear for a second. You might say a wrong sentence, feel deeply embarrassed for 10 seconds, and then realize the other person has already moved on with the conversation.
Right. Everyone else forgot it instantly.
Exactly. The social embarrassment is temporary, but the neural adaptation your brain just made is permanent.
I love that. Okay, so let's say the listener is pumped up. They are ready to speak, they're ready to make mistakes, ready to ditch the translation, but then a practical hurdle pops up.
The partner myth.
Yes. Myth number 6. I don't have anyone to talk to. I live in a non-English speaking country, so I can't practice until I find a native speaker partner.
Look, having a conversation partner is a wonderful resource, but waiting for one is just another excuse to delay starting.
So what can they do today?
You can build the necessary physical muscle memory entirely on your own. The source material outlines some fantastic solo exercises.
Like the mirror technique.
Yes. Stand in front of a mirror and watch your mouth form the words. Or record your voice on your phone. Listening back to your own pronunciation is an incredibly effective, objective way to catch your own errors.
Or even just narrating your daily life out loud, like, I am making coffee, the water is boiling, now I am pouring the water.
It sounds a little silly if someone walks in on you.
Oh, definitely. But it physically trains your facial muscles to produce specific phonetic sounds automatically.
Because the physical act of speaking is a motor skill. And you can practice a motor skill in an empty room.
Totally. Which ties into the final and honestly perhaps most tragic mental roadblock we see in the data.
Myth number 7.
Yeah. The belief that it is simply too late. The idea that adults cannot learn a language fluently because they missed that magical sponge window of childhood.
We hear this constantly. My brain is fully formed. I can't absorb things like a kid anymore.
But looking at the mechanics of learning, don't we actually heavily romanticize how kids learn?
Oh, completely. Sure, a child is a blank slate. But as an adult, you bring massive cognitive advantages to the table that children do not possess.
Like what?
Well, you don't have to relearn what a verb is, or what the past tense implies, or how to read social context clues in a conversation.
Right, I already have the entire conceptual framework of human communication installed in my brain.
Exactly. You just need to map new English labels onto that existing framework. That is a massive cognitive shortcut.
That is an enormous advantage.
Adults rely on advanced pattern recognition, whereas kids just rely on sheer brute force immersion over thousands of hours.
And adults have discipline.
Yes, you know how to sit down, set a structured goal, and focus your attention. A child learns language simply to survive their immediate environment, but an adult learns because they have a specific, powerful motivation.
Like getting a promotion, traveling the globe, or just connecting with new cultures.
Exactly. That intrinsic motivation is a powerful engine. Age is absolutely not the obstacle here. A lack of consistent, active practice is the only actual obstacle.
Okay, so the mental roadblocks are officially cleared. We know perfection is a trap. We know simple vocabulary wins, translation causes lag, mistakes actually physically build the brain, and you can practice right now at any age completely by yourself.
Very empowering.
It is. But insight without action is just entertainment. So how does the listener take this new mindset and turn it into a daily habit?
The source text actually provides a highly actionable framework for exactly this. It's an acronym called the SPEAK formula, S-P-E-A-K.
Oh, I love a good acronym. Let's do a rapid-fire recap of this formula.
Let's do it. So S stands for speak every day. Consistency beats intensity every single time.
So 10 to 15 minutes a day is better than cramming.
Way better. 10 minutes of speaking a day will create massive improvement compared to a 3-hour cram session once a month.
Love it. Okay, P.
Practice without fear. Do not wait for the perfect conditions. Start with whatever limited vocabulary you have right now.
Awesome. E.
Expand your vocabulary naturally. Don't memorize isolated words from a dictionary. Learn phrases in context from real-world conversations and apply them.
Right. Keep it practical. A.
Accept and learn from mistakes. Embrace that bicycle wobble. Every mistake is a necessary lesson for your brain's pattern recognition.
And finally, K.
Keep consistency. The compound interest of small daily efforts is what ultimately creates life-changing fluency over time.
Speak every day. Practice without fear. Expand naturally. Accept mistakes. Keep consistency. That is brilliant.
It really works.
Now, before we wrap up today, we want to run a quick myth versus reality rapid-fire test based on everything we just uncovered.
Oh, fun.
I'll throw out the common statement. You give us the reality check. Ready?
Born ready. Hit me.
Statement 1. I watch English podcasts all day, so I'm automatically improving my speaking.
Reality check. Watching the gym video doesn't build the muscle. You have to encode, not just decode. You must physically speak it out loud to improve.
Nailed it. Statement 2. I need to sound British or American to be respected in a professional setting.
Reality. You just need clear pronunciation to be understood. Your accent is your geographic signature. Keep it and just speak clearly.
Statement 3. If I don't translate every word in my head first, I'll sound stupid.
Reality. If you do translate in your head, you'll suffer from cognitive lag and miss the conversation entirely. Train yourself to think directly in simple English concepts.
Spot on. And that brings us to the ultimate challenge for you, the listener. We are issuing a 7-day English-speaking challenge right now.
I love this.
For the next 7 days, we challenge you to take that very first letter of the formula S, speak every day, and actually apply it.
Yes. Use the solo methods we discussed today. Stand in front of your bathroom mirror. Record a voice memo on your phone describing exactly what you did at work today.
Just 10 to 15 minutes out loud every single day for 1 week.
The physical momentum and confidence you will build in just 7 days is going to absolutely shock you.
Because here is the absolute truth to walk away with today. The biggest obstacle standing between you and fluency isn't a lack of vocabulary.
No, it's not.
It's not your grammar, it's not your age, and it is certainly not your accent. It is simply the belief that you are not ready yet.
So don't wait to become perfect to start speaking, because that perfect moment simply does not exist.
Exactly. Start with one messy, grammatically incorrect sentence today. Tomorrow, speak 2 sentences.
And one day, you'll look back and realize the fear that used to completely paralyze you has actually transformed into the confidence that drives you forward.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. What if the language barrier you're fighting isn't actually linguistic at all, but purely psychological? What if your English is already good enough to change your life, and the only skill you actually need to practice tomorrow is courage?
That is powerful. Your English journey begins the exact second you decide to open your mouth.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take the 7-day challenge, embrace the stumble, and keep speaking. We will catch you next time.